Call this meeting to order. We are streaming, so we'll have those out in the world joining us by video. Welcome as well. The agenda today is fairly full. We have several guests, and as we go through the agenda, I'll refer to those providing information to introduce your guest. And we'll adjust the agenda just a little bit to allow the presentations and allow folks to leave as they may. The agenda before you, you can see Davin has it up on the screen. And we will, first order of business is to review the May 28th minutes that were sent out. Not had an opportunity to review those. If you would, please review, and I would entertain a motion to accept once you review.
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? We'll accept the meeting minutes from May 28th. If in the event someone needs to leave a little bit early, the next meeting is noted at the very bottom, July 23rd, 2024. And in full transparency, when we conduct the agenda items here, we will call a brief executive session and excuse all of our guests for a brief little discussion. So with that, we will move forward. Mike, I'm going to see if we can take the liberty of moving the presentation forward so we can not, if anybody wants to stay and experience our meeting, you're welcome to. I know you may have other things to do, so if you'll please introduce the purpose and discussion.
So there's a project that's close by the airport. It's off of Lexington. And you've had several handouts, I believe, to look at that. Plus I sent some things to you by email. But a lot of this project is outside of our approach. There's a little sliver that's in it, but it's in what we call AZ2. It's not in the runway protection zone. But it is near the airport, that we will have some density. We always want to make sure that there's nothing shiny or the lights are shined down. So that's always a big deal. But David, who's our chair, David Asman is our chair of our subcommittee that will look at this. It's not here tonight, but we'll pass the information along. But I know there's folks here that would like to talk about it, and I'll give you the opportunity right now if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much.
And it's still probably worth, so everybody here knows, the authority will not approve or deny anything that's presented. We only make recommendation to the mayor and commission, and they're the ones that make that approval. So I don't want you to be offended if you leave and then it hasn't approved.
Yeah, tonight it would be mostly just a discovery, I guess, for us, and then possibly then it would be passed on, to the subcommittee, and the next meeting will be the vote, a recommendation.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, first and foremost, for your time today. We really appreciate it. My name is Sam Rogers. I'm with a company called Virgin Held out of Indianapolis, Indiana. It's for an affordable housing developer, currently with the Athens-Clarke project right behind the Kroger up there on Hull Road. It's under construction right now, which is also 100% affordable development there as well. Sitting with me here is Sheila Crisp, who is the new director of the Athens Housing Authority. We will be a partner of ours on this development as well. And we've got a whole crew back there with us. We've got Dan and Charlie, who are consulting with the Housing Authority.
I'm Rick Parker. I'm the former CEO, retired last June 30th. And Charlie Dennis worked with me throughout as our development and construction real estate manager. So
Also retired.
we're just here to assist if we can.
And then further back there is Jeff Carter and Houston Gaines with with Carter Engineering, who are our civil engineers, not only on this project, but also on our Athens-Clarke project as well. So,
Wishing I was retired.
especially this interest rate and construction cost. So Jeff and Houston, I don't know if you guys want to start off, or I can, or what's better, you want to do it. I know we kind of overwhelmed everybody here with a lot of information, and so we're happy to talk about anything.
Yeah, I'm just take a few minutes, I promise, but I do have a handout I would like for us to go through with you. And I have 5 copies, so I think we might have to share. I apologize for that, but yeah, 2 there.
Is this the one you gave us?
It's probably the same.
It's,
I'm sure. it's the same.
yeah, I put this together. Should be, it's the same information. Sure,
Okay.
it's a bigger thing. Yeah.
Not much, but easier to read.
So I just wanted to,
Okay,
on the first page, just kind of wanted to show you a little bit about the site plan. There are 4 separate buildings that we're looking
You want to
at.
look at that one?
And at the top left corner of the sheet, there's a little diagram of the airport, and it shows you our location on the far left relative to the runway. And if you look at the second sheet, by the way, on that first sheet, Lexington Road is at the bottom of the sheet, and the airport runway is up at the top right. If you flip over one sheet, there's an aerial. It kind of helps a little bit. So the blue area here is where the development is. And what I do want to point out is the red line, everything south of the red line is what we're planning on developing. Everything above the red line won't have any development in terms of buildings or parking or anything like that. So when you're looking at it, basically half the site that's close to the Lexington Road is what we're developing. And I wanted to point that out because if you look at it, there's a little, rectangular piece that comes way up here that's just not going to be, just not able to be developed. And I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that. We checked all in, keep folding over. I just got building elevations there, of the buildings that'll be built. Pretty much standard, they're 3-story buildings. We did check all the height, regulations requirements, and we do have some text there that shows that we're under the height limitation, but we are well under it. The runway is it is 755 elevation, and we are down at like 684-ish. So we're quite a bit lower than the airport runway. Just wanted to point that out. So, and I think that's really about it. I'd be glad to try to answer any questions, or Sammy, you might can talk a little bit
Yeah,
more
no,
about your company, but I just wanted to point that out. So
How
thank you.
tall is it overall? Sorry.
The buildings are right at 40 feet tall.
Okay.
Right, so it's your standard sort of a 3-story with a pitched roof type of a type of development. And then, so from an overall development standpoint, this is 144 units on basically 10 acres, which is about 14 units an acre, which falls in that medium density calculation. So like we said, we're obviously going to partner here with the Housing Authority. The project will be 100% affordable to those people that are making 60% of the area median income. It'll go through the low-income housing tax credit, which is actually done by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. So we'll be applying for those credits in October. Find out in March if we get the award, and then the overall plan would be to close at the end of next year. From an actual zoning standpoint, the project is actually zoned for this density. The one thing that we're asking for a variance for is to forego the first floor commercial. It's part of the front to parcels zoning designation. I know it's about a $42 million development. Like I said, it's 144 units, a combination of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units, all for families. With that, I'm more than happy to answer anybody's questions.
Why are you asking for the variance on those commercial components?
Because of what Jeff said about the layout, I not wanting to touch the northern part
Yeah.
of the property, as well as the density that we need in order to keep it affordable and actually make it work financially, as well as the fact that we don't think that it's That given the smaller section of actual commercial ground on Lexington, that it really aligns up well for commercial use.
Is that the apartments across the street? Is that what they did on those two? They had the commercial, I think it's across the street or kind of close by, where they had that new red.
For the student development, is that what that?
No, it's just.
Atlas, you meaning that really huge one on Atlas?
Yeah, I know. I
Finishes?
just see that they just went.
I think that's right here.
Yeah, I thought they
there's
did.
Commercial too on that. I was just curious about that.
I might could add to that, if you don't mind. The property has a very little Lexington Road frontage.
Mhm.
So we feel like when you combine the apartments with the commercial, it's just really too congested right there. If we had more, if the property had more width, we could do commercial and residential but it's really narrow there and it really got to be a congested kind of a pinch point there. So we felt like it would be a little bit, not really desirable for a commercial developer and also just too congested for pedestrians and cars and that sort of thing.
Are those 6 parcels around it part of this property or is that a separate?
It's all separate.
Okay.
I think it's a total of 3 parcels, Jeff, does that sound right? Right, it's total of 3 parcels. The back parcel, the largest one, I think it's about 8 acres, is an RM1 zoning, and then the front 2 parcels, which I think combine like 1.5 acres. It's not very big anyways.
Okay. Not on-
It's the CC zoning standard.
Let me chime in here. When we build our Brookside project, we asked for that variance as well. In fact, we said we really absolutely had to have it. Familiar with Columbia Brookside over off of Hawthorne. The reason, part of the reason for that is, Sam probably won't say this, but I will. It's a difference, there's a big difference between a private sector developer of regular housing and somebody who's developing affordable housing. If you build commercial space, it will often sit there empty for very long periods of time before it finally gets sold out. And in the meantime, that's killing your pro forma. And it's not killing your pro forma in terms of profit because affordable housing doesn't have that much profit associated with it, where you can afford to build space that just then lays there vacant, not only at the start, but sometimes at multiple times throughout the life of the project. So it jeopardizes the affordable nature of the project. It makes it much harder to develop. And it's generally not in the best interest of the affordable housing component to have a bunch of commercial space in there.
So what will you use those 2 plots for then? If I'm looking at,
The apartments.
okay,
Parking.
Are you looking at that,
yeah,
where there's 2
yeah.
lots? Y'all don't own those.
No.
Oh,
No,
so
That's what
I'm sorry.
There's lots on there.
Those are
There's
not.
6 lots that
No,
you're
those are-
referring to
yeah.
are plotted on there. Those are existing lots that they do not own.
Right, I'm
Oh,
sorry for the
okay.
confusion. Yes, so no, so it's not what I was, sorry, yeah. Sorry for the
Yeah, I
confusion.
started to answer that one. I counted the 6 and I said, I know what 6 he's probably talking about. But that's the reason why, that's another reason why all the technical reasons set aside, from an economic reason, they're trying to do commercial property mixed with affordable housing
Hmm,
only works in really perfect locations.
okay. Okay, thank you.
Does that help?
Mhm.
What is the timeline? When
We'll apply for the state funding in October. I'll get the award in March. We'll start design immediately. And so it's like, I hope it'll be out of the ground end of next year or a Q1 of 26.
And more specifically, the reason I was asking, we'll refer this to David Aspen and his committee. They'll look at over my head, more technical pieces, as Mike alluded, roofing materials, lighting. I think there's no issue with runway. So they may come back with a couple of questions about that. And then at the next meeting, which will be July, we would make a recommendation from that committee. I just want to make sure that would fit the timeline back to the.
Yeah, I don't think that's
No, not at all. Yeah. Yeah, not at all. In fact, I don't think we're scheduled to go in front of the planning commission until September. So we've got plenty of time.
But definitely.
And then we'll consult with our engineer too, our Sinead Andrew, make sure it's, because we're responsible for protecting all, as you know, our zones and we just want to make sure we're doing our due diligence and being safe.
Yeah, based on what I've seen so far, I don't see any major issues, but like we had said before, just want to make sure we look at your ALP again, and if there's future extension or anything else on that end, we're taking that into
We'll
account.
tear down some of this thing.
Yeah, that's right. We might have to cut one of the buildings in half, but
So that's what I was gonna ask Mike is, are the current runway, is it at the extent that it can be, or can it be extended?
Just look at it. We got $35 million.
Yeah,
We can extend it another 1,000 feet. So that's the thing. We have to come up with some money. So there's no telling when that would happen. I mean, we're comfortable with what we've got.
But this would not interfere with such an extension.
Well, if we went 1,000 feet, it could.
it could,
You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's below the surfaces right now, but considering if we were to extend the runway another 1,000 feet, we'd have to consider how much profile and grade that we're gonna have on that end of the runway, and it could potentially be an impact if we were to extend the runway.
All right, any other questions, Sam and the group? Anything else you think we need to be aware of? And we will refer it to the operations committee, and in the July meeting, you're welcome to come back. Or we can just notify you kind of how you do that.
Appreciate
If we have
it.
any questions, you know.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to stay.
Bring it up.
You want that food?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna put this with my file and let them, I'll give this to my.
Yeah, I got the small one.
Well, it's, yes,
Curious a bit.
All right, thank you. So let's go back on the agenda. If we can, we'll start up at, item number 3, Mike, the airport manager's report.
it's a thorn recommendation that you don't have it.
Right, so we are looking at some financials and, we had a good month in May. We are looking at, 47,000, almost 48,000 in a surplus for May. Bringing our total surplus up for the year, 882,000, almost 883. And, so, everything was in line pretty much. We did have some expenses, in maintenance that we did have our inspection, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. A couple of weeks ago, which went well, but we had some preparations we had to do, some maintenance we had to take care of. We did order some signs, our distance to go signs on our runway, which yeah, you probably don't remember, but we have some big signs that say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and basically they're spaced out every 1,000 feet. And so our runway is 6,000 feet, so when they land, it basically tells them they've got 2,000 feet left, 3,000 feet left, or it goes down actually. So 2, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 feet left before they get to the end of the runway.
Gotta know which directions.
Yeah. And it's lit up at night. It's big. So, that's about a $10,000 bill right there. But, we don't have a project on that runway. There's nothing we can, move around money for feds or anything state. So we really just have to bite the bullet and buy that. And what happens is the panels are just laminated. They're plastic panels and they have the letters on them and all, and they're, they shine at night. So, it's very expensive. So we've got those on order. We haven't gotten them yet. We were hoping to have them, prior to our inspection, but we told them we had them. We showed them the quote and the bill, and all. So he was satisfied with that. So So you might see some maintenance, that's on the financials, that did, but all in all, we really tried to do, a good job in curbing some of the maintenance. Our operations were good. We had, about 3,400, operations, versus 3,800 in April. June, July, as I mentioned previously, several times, that those are slower months. So we'll see how that goes. But the port road traffic seems to be really flying and doing us justice. We did have to shut down the runway last week into Friday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We thought Saturday, but we could reopen it on Friday. And so I don't really think that impacted us much. We did have some aircraft that wanted to come in, but they went to other airports. And even a jet used the 4,000-foot runway, not a small jet.
Heard it.
Yeah, it came over your house, did it?
Actually, my colleague and friend Davin sitting there sent me a note
Yeah.
to give me the heads up to let the chronic complainers in Cedar Creek know. So I sent it, forwarded the note to the current
Good.
president
That's
and
good.
said, "Put it in your newsletter or get the word out, you know."
Yeah. That's good.
So,
Because we didn't, did you get any calls? I didn't get any
you're
calls.
lucky, yeah.
Luckily, the winds were favoring
So.
taking off in
Yes.
the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So they did a lot harder landing than,
Yeah.
That's true.
I was in my hangar when they would take off. They would go rattle the doors.
Yeah, those old Navy pilots wouldn't have been.
Well, they just, there are some chronic complainers
Yeah.
and they still talk about violating Cedar Creek airspace. Cedar Creek airspace?
That's Cedar Creek airspace.
Yeah.
That's class.
So,
What is that class? MCC?
so I don't know, Davin, maybe you did some good, who knows?
Mike, when was the last time that you had a complaint, would you say?
Oh, man. It's probably been months. It's been months. Yeah. The tower really does a good job. They try not to send anybody over Cedar Creek if they can help it. But sometimes like the winds,
Not because of me, good of me. Yeah,
You have to.
I used to tell my kids when the airplanes were doing their training over Oceana, that that's the sound of freedom.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
well, it is interesting because the one person whom we know, we won't name her, but one of the original vintage chronic complainants. I mean, she told me, she bought a house in Cedar Creek because she wanted to live out in the country and in peace and quiet. And I thought, well, that must have been in the 60s because, and the airport was there then.
And commercial service back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they really did.
She loved the helicopters, but didn't
Yeah.
the small airplanes.
So,
It takes all kinds. Any questions on the financials? Capital improvement projects, we are going full steam ahead, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
On that taxaway alpha project, and I'm being very selfish. I know we need rain. But it's so good not to have rain right now with this project going on. Because one of the things we dealt with, with the 220 project, had a lot of rain. And the dirt was wet, and the contractor was complaining he couldn't find good dirt, that was dry. By golly, you can find it now.
That's right. That's right. We don't have any complaints about it being too wet out there right now.
No. As a matter of fact, they were hoping for a little rain.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
It's
There's
a little hard to get into, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, they're having they got a water truck out there, trying to water it
The
down.
dust becomes a problem.
Yeah. Are you up on what's going on? I hadn't called Brandy today. I usually call Brandy to find out. Are you up on what's?
I haven't talked to her today. I was planning on getting an update before the meeting tomorrow, but
Yeah,
I know they had been trying to work on the soil cement was a priority of what they're working on right now and under drains. But other than that, I don't know. Those were the two big items that they've been working on lately.
yeah, and I think that's what they are working on from the equipment I saw out there. And so they're doing real well. we had the mayor and commission approve the design for, the parking lot and taxiway Bravo, at the last commission meeting. And, so pass that on, final copies to Andrew, and he got them. So we're not sure which one's gonna happen first, you know, we're discussing it with GDOT. At first they wanted to fund taxiway Bravo. And then they came back and said, no, we want to do the parking lot, and now it's back to taxiway Bravo. I want to do that first, which I'm good with that, because I want to get that done. If we get Bravo done, then pretty much all of our major pavement, like the taxiways and runways, will have been done within the last 6 years. Everything would have been paved and really in good condition. So then the next thing we can concentrate on, you know, as far as asphalt, is extending the ramp and then paving around the T-hangers, the aprons and stuff.
Yep.
Which is needing bad. And, but also, you know, we're doing, like I said, we're doing design on both. So, if there's any money that becomes available, from GDOT, we'll already have, you know, the design done, everything be shovel ready. We can move forward. So the taxiway Bravo would probably be fiscal year 25. Yeah, you know, I mean, we don't have the money. Now, I'm not saying we're gonna get the money, but if it does come down to it where we do get it, it would hopefully be fiscal year 25 for the taxiway Bravo, fiscal year 26 for the parking lot. And, so they're both good projects and they're both needed. So I'm good either way, Sheriff, everywhere we go.
That survey is, for those projects, is intending to start on Monday.
Monday, okay, that's good.
Is that approval blanket? You don't have to go back at any point in time.
For the design?
Yeah.
No, it's approval blanket. Yeah, it'll be done. That's up to the bidding too, right? Okay. Is it up to the bidding?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's up to the bidding, through the bid and award process, and then for construction administration and inspection and material testing, that would be, those would be separate.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So what are they putting in? Are they?
Taxiway Bravo?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be just like what Alpha's doing. Is that right? Is it gonna be a total?
It's very, very similar to what we did on runway 220. So
Okay.
in place, full depth reclamation of the existing pavement material, to
Yeah.
turn it into a stabilized base and then put new asphalt on top of it.
Yeah.
And is the county putting in any funding?
That one is a 75-25 project, because it's a state project.
Yeah.
So yes, we'll take some money out of our SPOS
Okay.
and,
Yeah.
use that money. It'd be probably about 500,000, I
Hmm.
guess, of our money.
And then do they siphon off that proportion for street art?
You know, that's a hit and miss. I normally don't put that in my agenda items. Sometimes they come back and say, you know, that we need to do it. But sometimes they come, we haven't put it in there and they've approved it okay without it, you know? So, yeah, hopefully not, because you know, I love art, you know, but we really need that money to go toward, you know, our infrastructure if we can use it.
Yeah.
Our self-serve unit has been, I think I reported last month that it's been hooked up, the power's been hooked up by Georgia Power. We're waiting on the, installer to connect it, which they did. And now we are waiting on the, state, weights and, I don't know what they call it, weights and so, anyway, to verify, you know, that a gallon is a gallon, out of the pump. So they should be coming, this week, I think, and get that done. And then, so our date really that we have right now is July 1st, is to open that thing up and get it going, start pumping some good quality, inexpensive fuel.
Do we know what we're gonna price it at?
Well, we get a price every Tuesday, a different price, you know, depends on the rack. But, so I'll start looking at that and I'll let you know. We're gonna be very competitive with other airports as well.
That's more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
When and how much?
yeah.
Will people fly into Athens just for a couple cents less a gallon?
Oh, absolutely.
Just curious.
Oh, yeah, they will.
There, people wanna come to Athens, but because there's no self-serve, they won't, they'll go someplace where there's self-serve, and they can save money.
Yeah.
But I mean, for a lot of people, flying to Athens is kind of a big deal to do it on other than the game day. Mhm. So I think a lot of people would come, especially if the price is competitive. People like to fly in, see the big G on the tower, you know, take a picture of their plane or.
So just for argument's sake, I mean, with the savings, what would it cost to fill up a plane? Pick a plane as just an example, and then what would they say?
CA planes are only from 40 to 100 gallons for small planes, so if you're saving $1 a gallon.
Okay,
It's real money.
yeah, that's a dinner out.
Mm.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Last time I met the guy that flew up from Brunswick to bring his granddaughter a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
I got out walking across the thing with a vacuum,
Small elite.
thinking, man, Walmart or Target be a whole lot cheaper.
Making that drive, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
A real nice vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
Real nice order.
That's what you tell the wife.
Yeah.
He needs a vacuum.
Yeah. He wasn't exactly whistling when he got out of the plane carrying the vacuum cleaner. Kind of grumbling, as I remember, but.
So, yeah, that's gonna be nice, because how long we've been talking about this for, man,
Long
I've
time.
been here, even before that, I think, before I came.
Most people, yeah, as long as I've been showing the airport, people have done that. So-
Yeah, it's gonna be good. And then, so I have an agenda item, as well that's, going in front of the mayor and commission at the August meeting, because they're off this month. That's gonna, I would like for them to approve, structural resources as a contractor to put in the fencing between, 220 out there. I finished that little, void up. And so I got permission from, purchasing, ACC purchasing to use structural resources. And they just said, I just need to do an agenda item and have mayor and commission approve it. So we'll get that done. That project is using up the, leftover money, I guess, for 220. And I have till the end of the year to use. And so, we can get it approved in August. They could probably install it in August. And then, we'll have that money well spent, for the end of the year.
So like you use precision fencing for a lot of the other fences?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is different.
No, it's structural resources.
Oh, it falls under.
Yeah,
Thanks up.
that's right. Yep, that's what they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's.
Yeah, they did a great job, on what we have. Let's see, the tower, I will say this, on the tower, haven't heard any more about the tower from what I reported last month. So it's still, everything's moving forward as far as I know. Yeah,
I told Daphne before the meeting, I've already reached out and I'm gonna probably meet with DFA next month sometime.
okay.
And if you have some questions that you'd like to ask,
No, that'd be good.
specifically about the tower project,
Okay,
you can shoot them to me and I'll ask them.
that'd
Just
be
the
good.
answers, hopefully.
Oh, that'd be great. Yep, I appreciate that.
Control.
Yeah, because that's, those are folks that I only talk to when, when they initiate the meetings. And so occasionally I'll call them up and say, hey, what's going on?
And I'm hoping I can maybe get a little more info than they might normally share.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be real good. And that's all I have on the capital improvements. Now, as far as marketing outreach, we'll be speaking to the Kiwanis tomorrow, at 7:30 is a breakfast. And, I did speak to the, Future Land Use Steering Committee yesterday. They met at 2 at the planning, department and went till about 4:30. So it was myself, Splost, Public Works, traffic was there, and transportation, Big Poke. So we were there to answer any questions and tell them, what our 20-year future plans were. And it was good. It was, it was a lot of good information that went out to them. And hopefully they could use it as we move forward. But I think that's all I had.
All right. Any questions of Mike of the 3 reports?
Marketing is easy.
Anything on marketing other than
Marketing,
Kiwanis?
I know in marketing.
I mean, the only thing I'll say that's probably more outreach, we did have, the Timothy Road Elementary School Camp in Barnett Shoals Elementary School Camp. And so we had about 194 students and 25 adults, come out for tours. We did have the, election, so we are now a precinct, and so that is occurring in our community room. So the June 18th runoff was held there. We've got, coming up, we've got the Athens Community Council on Aging is going to bring a group of seniors out. And then on July 2nd, we've got both the Boys and Girls Club doing a tour. And then the Horizons Atlanta group at the University of Georgia is going to be coming for a tour. So lots of outreach going on.
You said adults came with those kids. Were they teachers? Were they parents?
I think it was a combination of teachers and parents.
Mhm.
Both schools at once? We actually broke them into two groups. So we had Timothy in the morning and Gaines in the afternoon. Easy day for you. Yeah.
So who initiated that? Did you invite them or did the airport invite them? Did
So
they?
we are at that point where it is word of mouth. I mean, we're doing so many school groups that as soon as they hear, about one, they're coming out. So it's one of those, it's that tipping point.
Yeah.
Gladwell situation.
Yeah.
So we've reached that.
Well, I mean, I think this is actually a serious issue. It's actually wonderful news and it relates to our goal 4 in the strategic plan. And so it shouldn't be downplayed. In the minutes, there should be publicizing of it. Because it's a very,
David puts it on Facebook.
Yeah. but I think a newspaper article, or it should also be written up in the minutes by the numbers in the schools. Because it shows a strong link with the community.
Yeah. Banner Herald's always put articles like that in the newspaper. Do we have them?
Right there.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, how are you doing?
I mean, I don't think you should downplay the opportunity.
Or, a tour or something and do.
Oh, yeah.
Story on aging. So next, I'll leave you my contact information. And next time you've got a tour coming out,
Good.
give me a couple of days' notice and I'll be happy. It'll be a fun little story to do.
Yeah, community story.
And do you give them something when they come, or what do they take away other than what they saw? Do they get anything?
Good memories.
Well,
Wings we can give them little kids?
We can get wings. We used to give them a long time ago, those balsa airplanes,
Yeah.
hand those out, but.
how about the fact sheet? Would it hurt to give all of them a copy, or at least the teachers?
Teachers, yes. I mean, the students probably.
We did put a lot of work into it. I'd like to see it used.
Like the Boston Air Community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or, I don't know if do you have little buttons like NF's airport or something? I mean, I just think
But I mean.
that's standard practice, and they would take that home and say, look, look what I got at the airport today.
Yeah.
So you anticipating, I guess now for school's out, that it'll tail off and then it'll start up again in August, September?
And really, I mean, this summer has been busy with school kids. So,
Yeah.
but like I said, the Boys and Girls Club is coming, so that's all
Mm.
school age kids. And this Horizon group is kids that have, this is the group that First Lady Jill Biden
Oh,
came in
okay.
and toured that group, but it's primarily kids that have just finished kindergarten and are getting ready to go into the first grade.
Well, I'd like to see us, I mean, the authority's here for a reason. And I don't see why, we can't, assist in some way. on
Oh,
this.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that'd be great.
Yeah, and I'll say that, I mean, if anybody wants to, participate in the tour or give the tours, I mean, those are kind of falling on my shoulders at this point in time.
Well, that's why I'm saying it, because I think there are other ways we could also assist, another standard thing we could do is we could work with you to draft a letter of thanks. If it's a school, principals have to sign off on a field trip, and it would go a long way to sending a letter on the airport letterhead saying thank you, and we'd welcome other students from other grades in your school, etc. I mean, use us. We are here for a reason, and we tend to just listen to reports and go. I think it's time that something like this gets back on the agenda as new business, don't you, Keith? We've talked about this.
Because there's a
You know.
lot going, with COVID, It was dormant for a long.
Well, it's time to get back to it, and I think it's wonderful if you've got those numbers already.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know.
and thanks to Davin and his crew, they do such a good job. I mean, they even had a pilot, I don't know, who was the pilot?
Yeah, Jeff, is it Jeff Young?
Yeah, he came out with his plan.
Jeff Young.
Yeah,
Building Arlington too.
And with
okay.
Boys and Girls Club, we've actually got someone from the Georgia Forestry Commission who's bringing a plane in for them to take a look at, so.
So, yeah, I mean, it's coming full force now.
Well, I'd like to request that, that it go in the minutes, that we make it something that the airport authority can assist in as an initiative. And then I don't know if you've got money in one of your budgets, if you're talking about little aeroplane or buttons or something else.
We can do something. I mean, I'm sure
You
we've
know.
got some money, we can do something, and I'd love to. I had those pens for a while.
Yeah,
I-
yeah,
those are gone now, but I could do something like that.
yeah,
A button, I like buttons.
yeah.
Wings is nice,
Little wings or, like that airplane that's in the lobby
Yep,
on a button with Athens-Clarke Airport,
yeah.
Do you get any, Devin, do you get any particular questions? I mean, do they ask a lot of the same sort of question when they're here or curious about anything particular?
Some, I always lead with them asking questions because I don't wanna, I wanna answer the questions they have. So we normally start in the commercial terminal, there's a plane up there, and so there are normally some questions. This last group of elementary school kids, I was very impressed with questions that they asked. So, they asked some really good questions, but then we come outside, we go to the fire station, have them, with this particular group, which was a lot, we had them, break up into groups and go up into the tower. So just depending on how busy a day it is, whether or not they can go on the tower or not. But, I always try to get them to ask questions because I'd rather talk about something they're interested in than me boring them to death with.
Do you get any teachers asking questions or looking for
Yeah,
follow-up?
absolutely, yeah.
Do they ask why the engine's in the back?
It's just in that plane, yeah, right, yeah.
Well, I'd like to hope if you get teachers asking questions, I think you should give them a copy of the fact sheet.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That'll be a little bit of ink and paper, but I'm sure you can handle that.
Yeah,
You know.
bringing that tomorrow to the Kiwanis.
Yeah,
I always bring that we're ready.
Most of the time, the teachers are asking about commercial service day, so.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
When are you gonna get another flight to?
Have you seen those, STEM model lessons? There's a lesson on principles of flight.
Yeah.
And then there's another one on how to make a parachute, just with paper and how a parachute works. And I don't know, I'll send you the link if you like, but whether teachers use things like that or whether that's something you could give out,
Mhm.
Okay.
they're
We'll
kind of
have,
cute.
we'll have David demonstrate the parachute.
That's from the tower.
Grant, you're still licensed.
They have those at Fort Benning that some of us got to do it more than one time because we did such a good job. the
Remember, you
first
said that and never again. Well, next month,
Or
Keith's
excuse
gonna
me,
get
not
after us,
Fort Benning, sorry.
about reviewing the strategic plan. And I think, this is ripe for saying, okay, time for some action,
Yeah,
Okay,
good.
fair enough.
I know another item that would fall typically under marketing, but we'll hold it until we get down to the fact sheets, talking about the annual plan.
Okay.
So I know it's a marketing, but we'll talk about that when we get down there, if everybody's okay with that. Let's see, the next item on the agenda, number 4, is old business Lexington corridor update.
Non-report.
Okay.
They didn't meet, haven't heard anything. I think they were somewhat embroiled in, what did they call it? Personnel issues, unnamed issues.
So we will leave that
So
on the
that-
agenda.
I wouldn't, I don't know if we'll get a report next time, but I have nothing to report on that.
Number 5, new business, none that I'm aware of. Under the standing committees, business and finance.
We have nothing except that we, like you alluded to, Grant, we have our, Diane, we have our strategic plan, quarterly strategic plan. We're
Yeah.
next month. at our
Yeah.
next meeting.
They come quick, don't they?
Let's see, operating committee. Did they
Yeah, I have something on that. The only thing I have is that we did have our FAA inspection. It went real well. FAA was with us for about 3 days. And, he had somebody with him that he was training. And actually it was a fire chief from, past fire chief, I guess, from Puerto Rico that was in charge of all the airports. She was really sharp. But this was our first time meeting our new inspector. Usually the inspectors, they have a 3-year stint, with the airports. And get to know them, they get to know your airport, and then they move on and somebody else comes. So this person was really sharp as well. And he looked at everything. He looked at, our runways, taxiways, our lights, our signs, our approaches, our paperwork, our training, quality control, trucks, farm, you name it. They look at it all. They look at our airport certification manual, which is kind of our Bible for how we run our Part 139 airport. And it was up to date, and in good, good condition. We had, our emergency plan was reviewed. Everything was good there. Our wildlife plan was reviewed. Everything was good there. So we were addressed on 2 items. One was our fuel truck that day, I don't know if it was a hot day, but there was a small drip, on the hose, that you pump from. And so we shut that truck down right away. And he saw it, he noted it as well. And so that one, which we repaired the next day, we got the part repaired the next morning. And then the other item was mold on the painted surfaces, on the runway and some of the taxiway, some of the older taxiway. But that's a problem that all airports have is mold. And you just have to, we knew it was there. It wasn't anything that was totally obstructing the painted surfaces, but we knew we had to take care of it. And so our plan was to get, to take care of it when we closed down the runway. And we told them that, but it is an item and that he did address. And but we took care of while the runway was closed, and even prior to that, got it all taken care of. So all the items, both items that he mentioned, are taken care of and corrected. So, I mean, all in all, he said, we were a great airport. Operations was fantastic. Everything was in order. And so we'll see him in a year.
So they do it every year.
Yeah, every year. Yeah.
Was this the same fellow you had last year?
No, this is a new fella that he started his first year with us. So he'll be with us for 3 years.
Mike, you consider you got an A or A plus?
Yeah, I would say probably an A, between an A and an A plus.
Okay.
If we didn't have those 2 dresses, it'd probably be an A plus, but I'd say an A close to an A plus, yeah.
Takes a lot of work there.
I'm telling you, there's so much they look at, I mean, the pavement can't be more than 3 inches, and that's all runways, taxiways. The lights have, they have concrete pads that can't be more than 3 inches. I mean, everything out there has to be looked at in that, the instructions. You can't have any ruts, and all of the property we have out there, you can't have ruts, which if it's a rainy day and our tractors get out there, we create a rut, so we have to fix it. So you have to be very, very careful, and when you're dealing with the air side of the airport. And the fencing, he was pleased to see the fencing, in the ROFA, the runway obstruction free area, that was addressed. So he was pleased to see that too. The quarry, we have that big mound out there, but I have to call them every now and then and tell them, knock that mound down. But they do have a red light on top of it, which helps, once they see that red light, FAA, they know we're good, but we still have to, there's a height that it can't get past. And
Does it actually penetrate the Part 77 surface sometimes, or is it just close to it?
it's very close. Yeah, it's very close. And when it gets to that point, I'll call them up,
Yeah.
which I've got some good relations with them, and some of the folks that can make it happen, you know? So,
And just for everybody else's benefit, the Part 77 is just a notification service. It's not something that you can't run or can't fly or can't do something if something's penetrating. You just have to notify and put the little red light up there.
yeah. We did 7460, which is just a form you send into the FAA of the height, you know, the limitations at that lat long, you know, where it is. And they said it can't go over 80 feet. Sometimes, you know, it might be a little over that. But I'll call them up. They're really good about knocking it down.
So just an example, if they're building a new tower, will they have to temporarily have a similar light at the top or?
Yeah, most towers have a light.
There's a whole formalized obstruction evaluation process the FAA goes through when they put something like that up, so
Yeah.
it's going to be reviewed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It goes through all departments. I mean, everybody.
Yep.
What happens with like water towers that don't have working lights on top of them? Who's supposed to fix that?
That's the person that owns that tower, I think.
Oh,
Like if it's a city or county,
right,
they're supposed to replace it.
because I know the one in Culver, the lights been off of that tower for years.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they need to replace it. If it's a Verizon or a, you know, AT&T.
Like the water tower.
Yeah, but yeah, if it's a water tower, then the municipalities. This is private.
Anything else under operating?
No, sir, that's all I have.
Air service development, marketing?
Nothing, still plugging along.
Like I said, we'll talk about the annual report just a moment.
Are you still aiming for November to meet with American? Or something
We're waiting.
later in the year?
We're kind of communicating. We're waiting to hear back. Yeah. So nothing's set yet. It's kind of still as is or was.
Next agenda item under other business, updating the fact sheet, and I'll just throw in the annual plan to that, or the annual report to that too. I know last time we met, Keith, we talked about the fact sheet.
Wanted to just get some.
Update.
You weren't at the last meeting. were you?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, okay. It's very.
I was the one who was late.
It's all right, I'm gonna take that.
Just very briefly on the fact sheet, some of the input, just very quickly, that we had was that David Asman suggested potentially we want to look at, we were just starting to get the conversation going with suggestions about what we want to do with the format of the fact sheet, which currently looks, you know, like this. It's 2 pages. I think the input is we want something a little more modern. David suggested potentially a printed version of it, might be a trifold. Maybe we have different colors, I've looked at some things online just to see any ideas. And, you know, a little more modern looking where it kind of blocks off the different topics and things like that. We have said we want to have a QR code potentially in our annual report or other places that could link to an online version of the fact sheet. So a number of things, David and I were talking about this, and we'll want to get everybody's input. I know Diane, you were involved before, so we'll draw the more input, the better, about the updates. But it's going to be kind of 2 areas of things that we want to do. One is the look and feel and format and where we put this, which would probably be the airport website, Facebook page, and the Instagram page. So we'll have the online version. So, but the look and feel of the report, both the printed and online version, is kind of one area. And then the other one is, which Diane kind of sparked, is where we have a number of things. We have opportunities to do some updates.
Yeah.
Updates of data since we did this in 2022, which included a lot of data from back in 2020. So we'll want to update data. David and I talked briefly about that. So that's the kind of the 2 efforts. So we'll have another update for the next meeting.
You remember Frank sent us copies of all the GDOT report fact sheets. I haven't had a chance to look at them. I don't know if you have.
Don't have it.
Did you get those?
I'm not remembering that right off. I probably did. When was this roughly?
It was right after the last meeting because we were talking about the fact sheet.
Okay.
And then he sent us, he said, oh, wow, because I had
Yeah.
mentioned, well, you know, GDOT,
Right,
every
yeah.
report has a fact
Okay,
sheet.
that sounds good, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good
And then he
information.
sent them all to us.
Okay.
Check and see you did get them, because I think we should look at them for formatting
Oh, yeah.
and color and everything else and see how
use that.
how they look as well.
There's a lot of information. There's a
Okay,
lot.
good.
Yeah. Have a look at them. If you didn't get them, let me know and I'll shoot them to you again.
I think you sent it out the next
I
morning.
do,
Okay.
but Keith sometimes has problems with
Yeah.
attachments or something. He has a system that doesn't like us.
But he never gets hacked, right?
It's a weird system, but I'm sorry. Anyway, that's it for now, anyway.
Thank you, Keith. Davin, last time we were together, we talked about the annual report going out, and then we had some email traffic about, and some discussion before about the strategic initiatives going in.
Yeah.
And I think we were going to put those in there, just could give us an update on where we are for those.
That is correct. So those have been added, and Allison has got the last version, the person that's our layout and design person for the printer. And so I'm waiting to hear back from her, but hopefully we'll have the final version here very shortly.
So is the plan to send that back out for everybody to see before it
Yes.
goes to, okay?
Yes.
Did we agree to put in like verbatim, all the whole strategic plan, all of the goals and initiatives, or did you? I can't remember, or did we say to condense them? I can't remember what we said.
I think it was similar to what we did last year, so
Yeah.
except for the updated.
Fair amount of detail in there, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the bullet items.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that because that way when I hand it out, it really explains it well.
That's great. So you're gonna send those back.
We pretty much, like yesterday, when I went to the steering committee, I brought several of them, about 20 of them. I think we pretty much used up every copy we had.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's good. All right.
Another thing, just going back to a previous item, sorry.
No, you guys.
Another thing you could, it would take some printing, I know, but you could hand out to these kids that come on tours and visits, is that diagram of all the ways in which the airport is a destination or
Yeah.
potential.
That'd be good, yeah.
And you've got that already in the annual report and elsewhere. You could print a bunch of those.
Yeah, we could have some printed for sure.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
All right, let's see. I think we have gone through the agenda. I know I moved around a little bit. Give me 1 second to make sure I haven't forgotten anything or missed anything.
So,
Do we have anything to come before the authority that we haven't put on the agenda or that has arisen? Like I said, the next meeting is July 23rd. Keith will provide us the strategic update. And then we'll have, I presume, a report back from the operations committee on this multifamily projects that we can report back to those folks at the next meeting. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting, and we will go into a very quick executive meeting where we'll ask our guests to leave us for a few minutes, if you will.
I move.
Got a second? Thank you. We're adjourned.
Okay.
You'll give us a couple of minutes. We'll
Just on covering all my bases, what's the executive session?
personnel discussion.
Okay.
Think about audits.
You asked, that's right. Sorry, Jim, I should have said that.
That's all
It was ingrained in me forever at the hospital. Bye, Jim.
Trying to be respectful, so.
On a totally separate matter, it will be interesting to see how the mayor and commission handle this